Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I'm so happy to have you here. We are going to dive right into your reading today, see what messages we have for the sign of Pisces. Spirit, what can you tell us for our Pisces? What do they need to know right now? All right, for Pisces, please, Spirit. Wow. You're getting the death card on the bottom of the deck. That is, something is transforming. Okay, you guys, I feel like we are getting kind of similar messages here. There's just like a similar energy thread kind of moving through your readings. Sometimes it's more intense than others, but you have this transformation that is occurring. You may be between kind of things at this moment where one cycle is kind of closing and another one is beginning in certain aspects of your life. There is this, energy of patience. And patience is a word that I always associate with the Temperance card in tarot. And it's like, when you want something to come together, like I always think of tempering chocolate, right? Tempering chocolate is you heat up chocolate and then you add in the same chocolate but at room temperature while it's still in a solid. And when you do that, it makes the chocolate stronger, it makes the chocolate glossier. Like you can look at a structure made out of chocolate and know if the person tempered it well or not, that guy, oh my gosh, there's a guy on the internet and they had a channel, they had a show on Netflix. Bhakti, no, come on, Bhakti, Baba, no, don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. No, don't even think about it. Anyway, you can build incredible things out of chocolate when you temper it right. And it's the foundation. It's the most basic part, but it's the most important part. You can have the most perfect molds and the most delicate plan, and you can make it perfectly, but if it's not strong enough to hold the shape or to hold together, and it's not glossy enough to make you believe that it is whatever it is. I've seen this guy make Mickey Mouse and a bicycle that where the pedals actually move the chain, out of chocolate. Oh my goodness, Sir Francis. You crazy boy, are you protecting me? I know, but that it's okay. It's okay. Just go ahead and lay down. Here, you want a treat? Maybe I'll distract you with a little treat. How about that? So, sometimes things take longer than we want them to take, but in the end, you typically, when you're patient and you let something come together or you bring something together, you let it kind of come together in its highest and best way, it will have the best result, right? Then you had self-love and observer come out together at the same time from the deck. And, becoming the observer is a form of self-love. It really is. When you have a thought or you get a worry or, somebody says something to you or, something happens that makes you feel uneasy or sense of discomfort, you can, if you identify with it and you really sit with it and you really go, oh my gosh, well then that means this and that means that, and oh my gosh, my life was hard enough, but it's only going to get harder and da-da-da-da. All of a sudden, you're in a snowball that is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it is not helping you. You can't see a solution. You can't appreciate the here and now. You can't, make a plan to deal with it. When you observe it, when you say, oh, okay, I kind of feel myself wanting to freak out about this or wanting to get worked up about this, or, I feel that snowball tendency, starting up inside myself. and you immediately say, let me zoom out and let me get a bigger perspective of this. Let me be the observer of this. And what that means is to just say, okay, this is making me feel unsettled. This is making me feel taken advantage of. This is making me feel used. This is making me feel deceived. This is making me feel whatever it's making you feel, right? And then as the observer, you take a deep breath. You say, okay, I see myself reacting this way. I understand why I'm reacting this way. If the reaction is really big, you can say, what is this reminding me of? You know, when have I felt this way before? Because a lot of times feeling something that we have felt in the past, especially a big feeling, especially a feeling related to trauma, can make us feel what we felt in the past too. You know, our feelings are much more intense because you're not just experiencing it in relation to this, you're also experiencing it in relation to that. But being the observer helps you to kind of put something in its place, or to kind of prevent it from sort of taking over, for at the very minimum the present moment, but in some cases your whole entire life, right? And I do feel like there are going to be things, I felt this in the general collective energy when I'm meditating, and by that I mean not just Pisces, but like the whole world. It feels like there are going to be things that are going to be happening or whatever that may be a bit triggering or may cause us to want to react. And so there's a need to do this on a small scale in our own lives. Well, it's not a need, but it is typically the kindest way to move through most things, especially difficult things, or especially shocking things, or surprising things, or things that have, you know, negative emotions tied to them. If you just observe it and you don't let it unpack and stay and just like take over, you can move through it relatively quickly and relatively painlessly. You know, it really helps, okay? It keeps you in the center of the Wheel of Fortune instead of riding the up and down, the wide up and down of the outside of the wheel. Yeah, so you definitely have change here. But look, something is blooming. Something really beautiful is happening here. Okay, you guys are getting self-love again. That's the second day in a row you've gotten the same card twice from two very different decks. Okay, Pisces, you know, there's a lot here of, this is a really great energy actually, and it may not feel great moving through it, but it is great. These are moments where you look back and you go, oh, that's when that was all kind of coming together for me. And you know, sometimes they're difficult, or sometimes they're challenging, or sometimes they're hard, but I want to say it was Marcus Aurelius who said, you know, that when we look at the obstacle as the thing that's going to eventually make us stronger, you know, like that tempering energy, okay, I have to deal with some hard things. I got to deal with some fears. I got to deal with some self-doubts. I got to deal with this in order to get to the other side. Eventually that obstacle of facing your fear, facing your doubt, facing whatever it is, even circumstances that life is bringing to you, that is going to make you stronger if you take that approach. If you have that attitude, it will happen. And so it's kind of giving me, you have this extroverted energy. You may be called to like communicate a lot. For some of you, I feel like this could be even like work related, where it's like maybe you have a lot of projects coming to their completion and you have to talk a lot about them or present a lot of stuff, or you're having big meetings, or you know, whatever. It's asking a lot of you to be in a specific energy that can be very tiring, is how it's coming across, okay? And this is saying you temper this with self-love. You know, you temper this with super quiet moments where you completely unplug. And, you know, I think a lot of us think that scrolling on our phone is relaxing. And, you know, I think in certain ways it can be. But when you're home, like if you're out and you get kind of anxious in social situations, then it can be relaxing to have that phone world to like dive into so that you don't have to deal with everything around you, right? So, you know, I can see it in certain situations, but your phone gives off like all kinds of lights and frequency and all kinds of stuff, and sometimes you can control what you're seeing, but a lot of times you can't. And so there, you know, it's not always like your highest and best. Like sometimes it's good to say, I'm not going to get on my phone. I don't know why this is coming to me, but she's reading a magazine in the bathtub instead of like scrolling through her phone, looking at Instagram, or, you know, kind of, you might see similar things in a magazine and on Instagram, but she's actually like doing it the old fashioned way. I've been getting this a lot in meditation, like just like write things down with a pen and a paper instead of like typing them out. Like I keep getting like spend less time in front of a screen. So take it as it resonates, you know. I've been listening to things instead of watching them. I've been, you know, like that's just how my interpretation of it. Baba. Yeah, so boy. But this is about protecting your energy here. This is about, you know, staying happy and staying in the sun, you know. There are just a lot of things out there in the world that to be released. And, you know, some of these, it's coming through like artificial frequencies or even like... these I mean, it's so crazy. Something just popped in my head specifically, but I think I'm gonna not talk about it. Okay. Except I don't know. Okay. I don't know. I'll see if it comes back up. If it does, then I'll do it. But you have Bhakti, Baba. Then you have this proposal, secret admirer, family, and mirroring. And, you know, some of you may be with someone, you may be in a connection, or you may be like coming together with someone right now. Others of you may have somebody who's kind of got their eye on you. They're with the mirroring energy and this frequency energy, you know, it's just kind of giving me this vibe of like really wanting to keep your vibration high, because this is kind of what you're matching with, and you are sort of in between these cycles and beginning a new cycle. And it's like, I just feel this energy of like wanting to do that in the highest frequency. And also like what you get, what is reflected to you will be a frequential match. And so it's kind of, it's like, it's giving me like the most important thing for you to focus on is your own frequency at this time. Like, what are you giving off? How are you contributing? What energy are you contributing to every space that you're in, instead of how is every space contributing to the energy you're in? Okay, yeah, this has come up a few times. It's kind of like, be the pillar of consciousness when you walk in the room. You be the one that affects the energy instead of taking on everyone else's energy and allowing that to affect you. And it's kind of like if you are recharging yourself and taking care of yourself and letting go of the things that you really can't do anything about, and kind of, you know, really, I just feel this like protection around you, like protect yourself kind of a vibe. You're going to be in your highest and best. Like, it's automatically kind of going to happen, I feel like. And it's going to make you stronger. I keep getting this energy of like tiredness, like almost like zombie exhaustion, like energy. And when you get really tired, you have a tendency to take on outside energy. You're not strong enough to like really protect yourself. Your force field is low, you know what I mean? And so this is saying, really protect yourself so that when you walk into a room, you are the you set the tone for the room rather than the room setting the tone for you. And I'm even getting this energy of, like if someone, is low vibe or, like telling you how something can't happen, it's almost like kind of ignore it. It's almost like kind of, I just get this energy of like turning your head away from it. Just like, I'm not even gonna entertain that. I don't even need to go there. I feel almost like things are changing for you, and you are also creating change around you at this time. Bubba, come on. Bhakti. Box, come on. Bhakti Francis. Hey, oh. Yes. Lay down. You got that big bed. You got all those toys, and you're gonna stand at the window and bark. Are you kidding me? No. Oh, Bubba. Now you're not even barking for anything. You're just talking. All right, what do we have for Pisces here, Spirit? What do we have for Pisces? Bubby, you're just not even... Bhakti Francis. You are not even barking for a reason. You're just barking to bark. Oh my goodness. Are you talking? Are you just talking? You got a big throat chakra? All right. This is interesting because Bhakti, I feel like there's this energy right here where it's like people around you are kind of like, wait, when did this happen with Pisces? Like, when did Pisces become this person? It doesn't feel like you have radically changed. You know what I mean? It feels like, I don't know, you're just showing up in a different energy. You have this recharge energy, which goes back to that self-love energy that I was getting, where, there's just this like, spend some time not really taking anything in, just consciously releasing and inviting in peace and calm and letting go of stress and chaos. I do that a lot with breath work, inhaling peace and calm and exhaling stress and chaos. But it feels like there's something here where the more calm and relaxed you stay and the more positive and focused on, kind of things going your way that you stay, the more other people are like, maybe before you would bend or you would acquiesce or you would entertain people that were in a kind of like, what I'm getting is like a bullshit bad mood. You would be empathetic and compassionate to them or something. You would give them energy, would give them space. And it's like, see how she's got her head turned? I feel this energy of like, I'm just turning my head. I'm just ignoring it. I'm just not really dealing with it. And I feel like there's an energy here of this being a real reflection, a real counterpoint for people around you to kind of see themselves and to kind of be like, wow, how would I feel if someone walked up to me and just started complaining? How would I feel? You know what I mean? It's kind of like when you don't respond, when you don't react, people initially are like, what happened to Pisces? What's up with Pisces? And then it's like, there's some kind of almost acknowledgement of like, wow, Pisces actually looks really good. Pisces actually seems really calm. Pisces really seems very vitalized. And not budging, not really moving, not changing, like this is a choice that they're making. They're intentionally in this energy, which causes then people to go, wait, why am I getting this reaction? What am I doing? And it kind of causes them to look kind of beyond what they're even telling themselves about themselves. And some people may even apologize. Okay, I am getting here with this cat on this card, like some of you might be getting cats, might have cats, might love cats. Cats might be really important to you. You might even have like a talking cat. And it's funny because I have a good friend that has 2 cats, and so when I talk to her on FaceTime, she's always like, oh my gosh, look at my cats. Like, look at what they're into. And cats are hysterical to like watch. They're so zen. It's hysterical. Like, her cats will be, you know, 1 minute they're chasing something across the room, like, and you don't even know what it is, but they've got all the purpose in the world. And then it's like they'll run into a blanket or something and be like, you know what, actually, I think I'll take a nap. They don't hold on to anything from one moment to the next, like from 1 second to the next, from 1 millisecond to the next. So there's almost kind of this energy of, it's like, I don't know if some of you have cats or whatever, but it's kind of this vibe that I'm catching of like letting things go, just like in the moment, like not letting one moment kind of bleed into another moment. You know, sort of taking on this sort of untouchable, maybe even a little bit aloof energy. Pisces can be very aloof. Pisces can be very elusive and untouchable. You all have that in you. That is the High Priestess, you know, where it's like you can suck it all in and nobody knows what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're doing, what you're up to, what's going on in your rich inner world. They know there's something going on and they want to know, but you know, you're not gonna, you have the capacity to hold your secret safe. You have your capacity to like keep a very strong boundary and not let anybody see what's kind of going on inside. You have this laughter on the bottom of the deck, and I'm really getting that. I'm really getting that there is something where you're presenting yourself in a way that is like very easy, very relaxed, very like nothing's getting me down, nothing's affecting me, nothing's bothering me. And I think this is like a really beautiful energy to sort of roll into this next phase with. I don't know. I feel like, you know, there are people around you who are kind of hiding their true motives. I think there are also people around you who there's something here where it's like they come across like they have maybe an emotional IQ or a high emotional IQ, but they've actually been relying on you for that. And I think you're withholding it, and I think you're going to get some, I don't know, this apology card, it's like, I don't know that they're necessarily going to apologize or even acknowledge themselves, but it could be changed behavior, or it could be like, yeah, you can't change anyone else's behavior. The only thing you can do is change you and how you respond to them. And that might be a catalyst for them to change their behavior, but it shouldn't be the reason behind it. The reason behind it should be because it's in your highest and best to do it. And sometimes when we finally do that and we sort of dig into that energy, we, you know, it can have an effect where people who may have taken us for granted, may have taken advantage of us, may have, you know, not appreciated how tiring or exhausting it was for us to hold that space that we held for them. You know, they may start to go, oh, wow, you know, and start to appreciate it when you take it back. You know what I'm saying? So there's something here where I just feel like you're not letting anybody mess with your joy, with your happiness. You're not, you have this frequency card and this laughter card. And it just feels like, it feels a little bit like you're just taking life like one moment at a time, and you know, you're letting things go as fast as they happen in a way. And you're kind of, I feel like you are kind of holding your personal thoughts or feelings to yourself more now than you have before. And it's almost like, you know, if you look at her laughing, it's kind of like, I have a secret. You know, like, you know, nobody knows what I'm thinking right now. What I'm thinking is pretty funny. You know what I mean? The Pisces, I know, also have an incredible sense of humor. I think all of them. All right, here we go. Okay. Four of Swords, Page of Cups. All right, so Pisces, this is very much Seven of Wands. Yeah, this is very much this energy that I was telling you about where, you know, I'm talking about where she's in the bathtub and she's instead not being on her phone, she's reading this magazine. You know, this is being really protective of your space and kind of giving yourself more of a meditative energy. You know, the 3 swords are on the wall and the 1 sword is underneath the hedgehog here. And it's kind of like we have to remove ourselves from all suffering and all the things that are going to are going to take us kind of down that path. Which can be like the news. It can be, you know, even commercials. If you're watching a television show and it has commercials, like some of these like horror movie commercials like can trip me out. I do not like to see violence at all. And some of them are just terrifying, you know? But there are things, you can only protect yourself so much. But when you have the chance, like when you're in your own home, in your own sacred space, this feels like giving yourself space from everything that could trigger you to just have clarity and to just be calm. This is like, it feels, it's an air energy, but it feels really grounding here with these logs. It feels very like grounding and centering and just a form of protection. You have the 7 of Wands on the bottom of the deck, so it's definitely talking about protecting your space, blocking out. Again, even what we're blocking out here with the 7 of Wands is alligators, you know, blocking out these things that have teeth, that weaken us, that can get us off our path or take us away from our real true self. Yeah, see, I almost said this is the sort of enlightenment down here. You know, I was calling it clarity. It is. Wow. Oh my God, I was not expecting that Ace of Pentacles. It hit me in the heart chakra. You have something new coming in, and this is a long phase that you're moving into, and it is one that you have manifested. You are, I feel that you are, either beginning to see now or you will be soon seeing in the material world things that you have been manifesting. And with the Page of Swords clarifying the 4 of Swords, this is like aha moments. And you know, this can be, you know, we keep getting the Hierophant in your readings, and I keep seeing it as like keys that unlock gates, you know, that take you higher and higher. And with that Observer energy that you got in the first Oracle deck, and then this Page of Swords energy, it's kind of like staying away from anything that hurts you, or, you know, having distance, like detachment from, you know, other people's words, kind of what's going on, the things that would cause you suffering. And it allows you to see a much bigger picture. It allows you to kind of see where to go, how to navigate, like what is the smartest choice. And it also, it's like, you know, if you get upsetting news, sometimes you need to know, okay, how do I navigate this next little space, right? And the best way to do that oftentimes is to sort of detach from the news itself and kind of just do, I think, other things, you know? I mean, whenever I get news like that, I have a tendency to like clean or cook, you know, and it's sort of meditative, mindless activity for me that that makes me feel productive and makes me feel, again, like I have some kind of control over something, you know, like that I have that, you know, I will, whenever I cook in my kitchen, I think how lucky I am to have my kitchen. I love my kitchen. It took me a long time to get a kitchen like the kitchen that I have, and a lot of work, you know, and it's it was my dream kitchen, and it is still my dream kitchen. So when I'm in there, it makes me feel like my life is really abundant, you know, even if I'm making like Kraft mac and cheese, I'm like, yeah, my life is great. And like, or when I'm cleaning my house, I always think how lucky I am to have a house, to have a roof over my head, to, you know, to have the things inside the house, including the people and the dogs and the this and the that, you know, just my life in general. And so that when you can find something like that, and everybody has things like that typically, you shift your mindset from what was shocking and possibly even like something that you didn't want to hear or you didn't want to deal with, into something that starts to feel manageable. Something that starts to feel like, all right, you know, even if it's manageable, just like, I just have to get through this. I just have to accept it, and I have to come to peace with it, and I have to move through it. You know what I mean? Even if it's just that, you can take that on. And it's not that I think you guys are going to get bad news or anything like that. I do think that, like, I do feel that energy, I will say, like, in the collective, in the general world energy. But I don't know what that's about, but it's more of, you know, this feels a lot like not worrying about the world and not worrying about, you know, anything outside of, kind of possibly with the Four of Wands, outside of these four walls or your home or wherever it is, you know. It's like, I'm not going to let what happens outside of this space have such an impact on me. I refuse to let it. And there's just this with the Page of Swords. It's like, no matter what happens, I'm just going to take this approach where I'm going to detach from it. I'm not going to let it unpack and stay. And because I'm going to do that, I'm going to be able to see, you know, the best path to take. With the Ace of Pentacles, you do have some kind of really good new beginning coming in, and it is solid and stable, and it does feel like it is a lengthy cycle that you're moving into, and it is one that can produce abundance, you know, of whatever form, whatever your currency is. It could be love, it could be money, it could be security, stability, whatever. The opportunity is coming for you. Some of you may even intuitively feel it at this point. Wow. You guys, you keep getting like kind of the same energies a lot. You know, you have the Three of Wands here with the Queen of Swords. You guys have been getting the Queen of Swords. And this Queen of Swords is giving me the same vibe. It's, you know, there's an owl, you know, flying with a sword in her hand. It's not that dissimilar from the Page of Swords here, but it's a raven. And it feels like, you know, life has made you very smart. It has given you the ability to see very clearly, and to kind of detach, and to not take things on such a personal and deep level where it's really rattling your strength. And you know, when something happens and we really attach to it and identify with it and let it unpack and stay, we cut ourselves off from our wisdom, and we cut ourselves off from our intuition. We just do. I call it not getting enough oxygen to the brain, because you breathe really shallow. And that's like real fight or flight for your nervous system. There's a physiological thing that happens in your body when you kind of have those type of reactions, right? When emotion becomes so big that you can't handle it, you know what I mean? Or when it sort of takes over and causes you to react. But you're wiser than that now. You're smarter than that now. You understand yourself and how to navigate space through kind of an energy of this detachment, of you know, not taking it on, not taking it personally. With the Three of Wands and the Three of Cups, there is this energy where, you know, the Three of Wands is it can be an energy of patience and divine timing, and you had patience earlier in your oracle cards, but it can also be an energy of, you know, planning and strategizing and really being future focused, and kind of knowing that your ships are going to come in. They will eventually come in. All the work you're doing, everything that you've been paying into will eventually pay off. It's going to come in. And there is this sort of hopeful energy here. You know, these pink flowers match these pink flowers of change. And so it is almost kind of giving me this vibe of like knowing that things will change. It's inevitable. Like it's one of the constants of the universe is that things do change. They're always changing. They're changing right now. They've changed since we started this video. Things have changed. And to everything, there is kind of a season. And I feel he's got this wand here and he may be building a nest. And this may be kind of almost metaphorical. You had this proposal energy, and now this energy is really giving me, and then you had the Four of Wands. It's giving me this energy of like, you may be moving in with someone, you may be building a home with someone, you may be moving yourself, you may be building a new home for yourself within a community, a job, whatever. It's kind of, it's like planning and strategizing. It's planting the seeds. It's doing something today that we know will pay off tomorrow, or that could be beneficial to our hopes and dreams for the long-term future. And then you have this Three of Cups on the bottom of the deck, which is giving me like, you might find camaraderie in this space. You might find help in this space, or you might get, it's giving me like a little help from your friends, you know, like, I don't know, the raccoons like go out at night and they dig in trash and stuff like that, and they may actually, through their own way of being, throw some trash out on the street that actually is extremely beneficial to the swallow building their nest, right? I mean, I can definitely see that happening. So this could be like, there may be people in your life that you come to rely on or can rely on, and you already know that. But there may also be some help from unexpected places. You know what I'm saying? All right. Wow. Man, you've had the 2, 3, and 4 of Wands. So, yeah, wow. You have the 2 of Pentacles and Temperance clarifying this 3 of Wands. So, you know, this is that temperance energy that we got, you know, when I was talking about tempering the chocolate to make it super strong, you know, and shiny and beautiful and perfect. You know, this isn't like you're just going into this with no fear, no trepidation, no, you know, no concern. You are going to have that's just, you're human. It's part of life. It's part of any kind of change or transition, and that's what you're going through. So you're going to have moments that feel a little unstable and a little unsteady. But this temperance energy is a major arcana. This is saying, you know, you'll always be able to reach into this. This is what's grounding and centering you, you know, with that 4 of Swords. If you give yourself the time and the space to, you know, kind of bring this thing together, and you don't force it and you don't try to control it, you just sort of use what's available to you and temper it kind of with what you know, you're going to get there. You know, you're going to get there. With the 3 of Wands, this is like, you are going to get help. There's ships coming in, but it's also about, you've already made choices, or you are making choices with this 2 of Wands on the bottom of the deck that have led you to this place where you are holding a vision, and you're starting to get the ingredients that you need to kind of pull the thing together in a really solid way. And it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. Both the 3 of Wands and Temperance are long-term cards. But I feel as though it's already begun. You've already been creating this space for yourself. So then you have this Queen of Swords being clarified by the Queen of Cups. it is saying, you know, like, this is still you, you know, you still are underneath it all. Like, you can adopt a way of navigating that doesn't fundamentally innately change who you are. You can just tap into it. You can just realize it and remember it, you know, for yourself. It's also giving me, these are two queens, right? And two queens, it's the Empress is all four queens, right? And so, you know, it's even just more proof here that, like, being able to be detached doesn't mean you're giving up your true nature of being unconditionally loving and empathetic and this and that. But it's like, maybe taking on the shape of, you know, what's around you isn't working out for you, isn't what's best for you. Maybe what's around you is chaos and shit. You don't want to take that shape on. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you're going to control it. You're going to be smart about it. You're going to use your wisdom. You're going to be intentional. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. And really use this kind of energy of, like, just recognizing what something is and accepting that that's what it is and moving on. You know, it's not, you know, unplugging emotionally completely. It's not, you know, creating blockages in your heart chakra or anything like that. It's just having the wisdom to be the observer of the emotion instead of letting the emotion take over and sink you, or cause you to, like, take on a shape that isn't helpful to where you're going. This energy is moving you in a definite direction. It's taking you to this new beginning. It's taking you to this ace that the universe wants to give you. And it feels like it's just kind of showing you how to get there. Take it as it resonates, right? But I do feel like in this message, I feel like there's even, like, confirmations, things that you'll be able to look to and be like, oh yeah, that's something, all right. Wow, there's the King of Swords. Okay, so you are getting a divine pair of the King and Queen of Swords in your reading. Now you're getting the Page of Pentacles with the Eight of Cups. You know, you're saying goodbye to a time in your life where you learned a lot of lessons. You know, you're not going away empty-handed. The octopus has that pentacle that he's holding high over his head. You know, that's a hard-earned victory right there. That's what I feel. But with the Eight of Cups, there is this energy of, you know, that really wasn't for me. You know, I rode that wave until it crashed onto the shore, and now it's time for me to catch a new wave. You know, like, that's just how it is. And yeah, you know, sometimes there is grief for what is gone, or grief for what is lost, or grief that, like, we won't cross this way again, because we won't. But even if there is some sadness, it's, like, really important to remember here that why do we walk away? You know, we walk away because we're walking to the Nine of Cups. We're walking towards wish fulfillment. We're walking towards something, hey, that can actually be emotionally fulfilling. Bungie, stop. Hold on, you guys, I'm sorry. Sorry guys, we're having work done and we have delivery, like, things happening, and sorry. There's just never a great perfect time to do a reading where it's always going to be quiet, you know. Wow, yeah, see, we're saying goodbye to what really, it's a cycle that I think once held a lot of hope and a lot of promise. And, you know, there was some good. There's some good here. There's some cups up that are upright, but it was burdensome. You know, you may have had a lot of responsibilities. I just keep getting, like, I was really tired, you know, like, I ended up carrying the lion's share of the burden through that phase, through that cycle, through that period of time. And you know, I just said with the Eight of Cups, we're going to the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. Well, what's the major arcana for wish fulfillment? It's the Star card. Honey, come on. Come here, baby. Here, take your pig. Let's get this. Come here. And you go out there. Great. Perfect. So that feels like confirmation, right? And it's not the Nine of Cups, it's the Star card. So it's like, you know, it's even bigger, it's even more, it's inevitable, you know, you can't miss it, Pisces, it's happening. And then you have this World card energy clarifying this Page of Pentacles. We're closing out this cycle that was full of a lot of lessons, and it may have even been, one of the lessons may have even been, you know, taking on too much or carrying too much of the burden or overgiving or you know, taking on so much shit from the people around you, you know. But with the King of Swords on the bottom of the deck, you've learned how to really master your thoughts. You've learned how to really keep things in perspective and keep things in check. You see how big that owl is compared to that little tiny sword right there? It feels like you have gotten bigger than, or more powerful than, your thoughts or the words or the projections of people around you. You've gotten wise to it. You see it for exactly what it is. You see it clearly. You stay on top of it. You don't let it get you and cut you the way that you used to. And so that's a really powerful position, and it's a great energy to be in, I feel like, for you moving into this new phase, whatever it is. It feels, I mean, with the Star card, it's definitely something that is fated for you. It definitely is something that, you know, is in your highest and best, and it's something that at one point you were wishing for. It's an answered prayer. So, you know, it's good, I can tell you that, but change is coming, and I feel like this reading is really, like, overall, it's offering you, you know, stay strong through this period where things may not necessarily be completely clear, or things may happen that put you on your back foot or make you feel a little unbalanced or a little out of control or a little like things are happening to you. Remind yourself, they're not happening to me, they're happening for me. And you know, carry on, you know, be willing to walk away from things that didn't ever really pan out to the highest and best for you, because guess what is waiting beyond that? You know, what is going to make you extremely happy. But you're definitely, this is a period of time with that Four of Wands and the Star card here that you've manifested. It is a dream come true. It is a wish come true. It is something that you have, you know, asked for, you know, and have become a frequential match for, you know. You've worked for it in very energetic ways, beyond just physical ways, you know. I think a lot of it has to do with even the way that you're thinking about things. All right. Let's see what your messages are, Pisces. If you're dealing with a water sign, you're getting stuck. You will always be my secret love. Suddenly, all songs I hear are about you, and your words speak to me like no others can. And if you are dealing with, a fire sign, you have be patient with me, please. I want your attention, and I am overcoming my fears, and I just want to go back in time, and I remember everything you said. If you are dealing with an earth sign, also, guys, I am starting a channel. It's called Book Lotus, where I talk about the books that I've read. I hope I'm starting this channel. I have the channel already made, and I have for months. I just haven't put any videos on it. But I think today I am making videos to put on it. And so if you're interested in that, I am probably going to show my face. So if you're interested in that, seeing who's been talking to you this whole time, you can check it out. If I do make a video, I'll post the link in this video, okay? But it's called Book Lotus. There's nothing up right now. All right, so you have no, if you're dealing with an earth sign, no one else matters now. Excited, wait for me, annoyed, distant, daydreaming, and guarded. And if you're dealing with an air sign, oh, Bhakti boy. Oh, if you could see the most pitiful dogs. They're so cute. If you're dealing with an air sign, you have indecisive. I thought about reaching out, but I don't know what to say. Secret, and you hit me out of nowhere. Oh, and you have one more. I can't stop thinking of you. All right, guys, this is what I have for you. I hope it helps. I hope it brings you peace and clarity. If it does, let me know. Until next time, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always. Bye-bye.